here I am in 70-degree temperatures. Maybe not quite 70 yet, but it's getting there. It's just a little cloudy because it might rain after being in like rainforest temperatures. I am bundled. Ooh, just fell in the hole. I have tights and sweats on, 3 shirts, and I'm dressed for like fall, early morning in fall in Michigan. Typically, Michigan people would be like half naked at 70, as it's so cold most of the year that when it hits 50, you see people with like sandals with no socks and shorts and tank tops on because it's blazingly warm. I feel like we moved away to California or the Amazon for a while, and now that we're back for a week at least, we get a reprieve from this heat wave. 70 is chilly. I'm like, oh, I need a jacket or an extra shirt. I slept in a sleeping bag last night because we've been just using little tiny throw blankets, just something to cuddle to sleep at night. And because it's just been so hot, we haven't really needed blankets, and so all the blankets are packed away. And I have this little sleeping bag that I bought at a yard sale that's like a puppy dog. Been much cooler if it was sloth because I collect sloths, but it was still ridiculous and it was a buck. And I knew right where that was. So last night I slept in a oversized puppy dog sleeping bag because it was that cold. And it's really not that cold. It's just that it's been so hot and so muggy that normal temperature feels chilly. I'm really hoping that we have a fall that slowly and gently transitions us into winter, so we don't go to like 80 degrees with 86% humidity to 0 or -10 or whatever. It's winter here most of the time, and that's why it doesn't take much for us to be in our summer gear. But times are changing in so many ways, and temperatures are one of them. So I'm enjoying the break. The extreme temperatures do not go well with my illness, especially extreme heat. That's why I've been between that and all the appointments and stuff that I've had to get to. That's why I've been living with Cameron even prior to my surgeries. After I have my surgeries, I'm going to have to live with him because I'm going to need kind of round-the-clock attention, at least for the first little while. And I can't be on my own for that. But in the meantime, I've had so many places to be, or it has been murderously hot, and because I have circulation problems, vein wiring problems and whatnot, I and heat don't do well together at all. It makes me quite ill, and he has an air condition. So came for the heat, stayed for the medical appointments, and then more heat, more medical appointments, and I just kind of never went home. I'm just waiting for him to say, can you please leave? Which he has not yet. I've given him opportunities, though. I just want to make sure to be conscientious. I'm like, are you sure you don't want me to go home for a while before I have these surgeries? And I don't really have an option to go home, just so you can get a little bit of a break. But he's reassuring me that it's totally fine. So they say couples can break up from too much time apart, and they can also break up, as we learned, a lot of people learned during COVID, from too much time together. Spending nearly 24 hours a day together, minus the 3 that I'm at work, or the rare occasion like last night when he goes out with his own friends, can make or break a relationship. It's not like we haven't spent extended time together before. We spent like a whole month or so together. But I've been here for like a while now, like 3 months, I think. every day, all day. And so far, so good. We've had our first, like, ever in a decade, we've been together a decade now, like, little nitpicky bullshit that all couples do. Things that honey, we need to talk. That wasn't cool. And I would appreciate it if you didn't do it again kind of conversations. Or would you mind doing this, the mess, this particular X, Y, or Z mess really drives me nuts. Could you please try to be more mindful of that? But they've all been discussions. Nothing major, nothing even really that noteworthy, except communication is key. Communication is key. And I am trying to get myself, I've been awake since 3 with pain. I was able to take an hour nap. I feel very mentally confused and stuff this morning, not well at all in my brain. And I was hoping that getting outside and walking the paths, because it is my day off, would help get the blood flow going, get the circulation and oxygen going, stretch out some of those tight, painful muscles and joints, and exercise reduces inflammation, reduces mental stress, especially if you can do it outdoors. And it's not untemperate to do so right now for me. And I don't have to go to work later, so I don't have to worry that I'm using up spoons here that I need to save for my job. Spoons, i.e. energy, a chronic illness slogan for energy due to a spoon theory. I don't know why they use spoons and not money. It would make more sense with money, but it's spoons. So chronic illness people that are debilitated to the point where their illness, its symptoms, the chronic pain disorder, its symptoms severely limit their capacity to perform basic life things, that they are to the point of debilitated because of their illness. That is why I wear this. I have a couple of advocacy shirts about specific diagnoses and things, but I don't wear them all the time. This, however, I wear all the time because I've made quite a few connections with some of the kindest people I've ever run across, and they have been fellow chronic illness Instagrammers, as I sort of became after I shifted off of YouTube for a while, because I can't keep up with it anymore. My illnesses got too much. I got too sick, and I couldn't do it. And then now I've had a new plot twist on top of everything with this whole uterine cancer shit that just trying to get a clearance for the surgery has been so many hurdles, so many obstacles, months. They gave me a 3-month window. Oncology gave me a 3-month window before I would have to be treated to get everything done. And I'm like working on that window. I've ended up having to have another surgery for my AVM, which put me behind, and they didn't schedule me for surgery soon enough, which put me more behind. I finally got a referral to the last doctor that I need. Neurosurgery approved me. Pulmonologist will approve me after I have my surgery and recover. 6 weeks after recovery, I can have my hysterectomy. However, I will be past the 3-month window, and I finally got a referral to an endocrinologist, but I don't have the appointment yet. I also need to do a Doppler ultrasound on my liver to figure out if I have an AVM in my liver and what we're going to do about that. They would like to have it done before I have the surgery, so I would also like to have it done before they have the surgery so they can make the best possible choices for me possible. And I need the endocrinologist to finalize the strategy of pre-stressing my body before surgery with cortisone, and then tapering it back off for 2 days after the surgery, due to the low cortisol, and anything else. I am out taking walk, like I said, trying to get my cognitive capacities to crank over and return to the living, and trying to get some blood flow, circulation, and energy by using some of my spoons. And I don't have to worry about doing things like this. Like in a typical day, I have to be very careful and thoughtful about what I do. How heavily I think, how much medical admin. I mean, everything. Thinking burns calories, it burns energy. It takes a lot of energy for your brain to run. It takes, like, I think 25% of all the energy you consume is used up by your brain. Cognitive activities, heavy, deep, emotional, like conversations with my partner, or like heavy, weighty conversations and stuff, is energy burnt. And so, like, thinking, feeling, before even doing anything, without even moving your body, you're burning up your reserves with ME/CFS, post-viral fatigue syndrome. That myalgic encephalomyelitis, whichever name you prefer, that I have to reserve my spoons for my job, but I don't have to do that now. And being active right now is the last thing I feel like doing. I don't feel well. I feel like I've been given drugs I never took. I'm in pain, and I don't have much of anything for energy, but I've already gotten soft, squishy, and weightier. Fortunately, it's not completely out of control, but my body composition has definitely changed since my illness. It's when you can't do what you used to do physically, even medically prohibited from the kind of exercise you wanted to do, even if you're well enough to do it, which you're not. You are more sedentary. You gain weight. You gain weight if you do half as much as you usually do. That's, basics. And the medications and steroids and stuff, and, the combination of all the things, you gain weight. And when you're not able to exercise the way you used to, you're actually instructed not to exercise the way that you used to. You lose muscle tone, the less physical that you are, especially if you used to actually full-on exercise and weight train and do yoga and things like that. So I'm getting to be skinny fat. I'm like 10 pounds heavier than I was when this all started, thereabouts, maybe even a little more than 10 to 15, depending. And I'm skinny fat, even when I'm not like 4 months backed up. I've got a little muffin top now, all the way around. I've got a muffin top, and my arms are barely muscular. My legs have gotten quite soft. I feel skinny fat, and skinny fat is not healthy. So it's more than just the number on the scale that's troubling me, that it's gone up. At least it's kind of like sort of hit a new set point. It's been between 121 and 125 for like a while now, and it just bounces sort of there for a couple weeks. But there for a few months, it just kept inching up and inching up and inching up and inching up, and I'm like, my God, when is this going to stop? And more worrisome for me as the body composition changed to muscle loss and fat loss, because muscle loss is a big predictor of long-term longevity and health, and vitality in that longevity, the capacity to, should you reach old age, be able to be mobile and happy and healthy. And my medically required reduction in physicality, and symptomatically required reduction in physicality has caused me to lose muscle tone and gain fat. Um, and there's not much I can do about it. Pay attention to my diet is all I can do. And when you have medical expenses, and the gas is, food is, everything is, inflammation is like across the board. I never in my lifetime have I seen everything, not one thing, not a group of things, but everything that is sold, rent, eggs, any kind of food, gas, everything is going through the roof with inflation. So yes, some wages have been risen around, but they were just barely catching up to before in this bound of inflation started. Never in my life have I seen a time when everything had inflation at the same time, and dramatic inflation. So just the cost of living is more. And then you take medical expenses, and transportation to all these out-of-town specialists and treatments and stuff that I have. $50 for one trip, one way and back. And that is if we don't have a surgery, which we do coming up, a couple of them, and have to stay in a hotel right near the hospital for at least a day, just to make sure that if there's any complications, we're close and it's all good. We can go to the same specialty hospitals that did the surgery, where all my specialists are at, rather than coming back into town and crossing our fingers and going in and sitting in the local waiting room that is overwhelmed for 45 minutes or a couple hours with a life-threatening complication. So hotels expensive. It's like, you know, by the time I've gone to 2 appointments in a month, especially if I've had to stay overnight somewhere, I have spent more than what I spend in rent. So it's just can't afford it not to work to help buffer my income. It's not cheap to be sick. It's not cheap to be anything right now, but it's not cheap to be sick. So I forgot what I said before that led me on to the finances topic, but we're just sort of having a meandering, rambling conversation while I walk through the yard and get my steps in, because the more sedentary, the hell was that? The more sedentary you are, the shorter you live, so they say. And it's just not good for you to be completely sedentary. So I got to push myself to move as much as I possibly can without moving too much. If I move too much, then I get myself sicker, just like the not allowed to exercise medical prohibition. That's not the right word, but advice. That'll work. Medical advice not to exercise. Not moving at all is equally treacherous. So I'm making myself do this for the benefit of health, because I don't have to save my spoons for my job, so I can utilize them for physical movement, because I won't be moving as much at work. I'm going to go 2 laps around, I think 2 or 3 laps around the other direction and call it good. That'll be the most that I have been out walking and outside in weeks. It's really unfortunate that summer has gone by so quickly. This whole year has gone by so quickly. It's been a blur of medical shit and humidity. Melting and medical shit. But que sera, sera. Whatever will be, such is life. peace, love, and other shit like that.